This is the drive home with TT and Zach, who's on the side because he's dropped a load of water over the middle seat like a silly plonker that he is. Driving home from the Den, where he finished Millwall 1. How many goals did Fulham get, Zach? 1. A night and day performance change compared to the game against West Brom. A game where I'm driving away happy, pleased with our performance. You know, we actually, I felt, looked the more attacking threat. Well, in terms of scoring a goal, I felt we were more likely to score a goal than Fulham today. But for a schoolboy error, basically, by Alex Pearce, who then recovered from it. But he's cost us a goal by switching off and being deep and allowing Mitrovic to score from a well-worked free kick. But, you know, you can't concede goals like that, certainly not in the Championship. He's played him onside and Bart's frozen to his line. Mitrovic finishes and tucks it away for 1-0. And at that stage, I've got to be honest, after what happened at West Brom, or against West Brom, I feared the worst. But we probably had a bit of luck with an offside decision where is Budvarsson offside from the corner? Yes, in an offside position. But it's hard to tell, certainly from where I was sitting, whether it was Bradshaw that played the ball forward or was it a Fulham defender. I saw it again at half-time, and again, it's really difficult to see. The closest person on the pitch is the referee, and I assume he feels that it's hit the Fulham defender rather than Bradshaw, and so therefore it doesn't matter whether Budvarsson's standing in an offside position because the ball's not played from a Millwall player. So you've seen them, you know, certainly when they were conferring, I felt that they were going to give it against us because, you know, that's what happens. But then once we got back into the game, I felt that, you know, we looked like a team full of confidence, and certain individuals today, like I said, compared to their last performances were absolutely amazing. I thought John Daddy Budvarsson, you know, I'll go through the individual ratings in a little while, but Daddy Budvarsson today was absolutely superb, absolutely brilliant. And, you know, if but for a couple of players that you would expect to be better than they were, I think we would have had Fulham today. And we still like I said, we created chances in the first half, of none better than obviously the Jed Wallace penalty, although Jed wins it. You know, with his driving at the defence, he plays a brilliant ball out to Marlon Romeo on the right hand side, who absolutely sells the defender a dummy. The defender brings him down just inside the box, and the penalty is rightfully given. And it sounds funny because I'm normally really confident with Jed, but I just felt that given the game, given the way it was going, given the fact that Jed's probably been a bit bereft of confidence, I felt he was going to go for power, and he did. And, you know, you've got to hit the target from 12 yards out, and he doesn't. He hits the bar and flies into the Fulham stand. Wasn't the worst shot of the day. That was reserved for the 23 of Fulham, Brian, who went about 19 rows back. So at that stage, I felt that, was it going to kill our game? Was it going to knock the wind out of our sails? But it didn't actually. I still felt we tried to attack. We had another chance in the first half that you'd hoped that we'd finish, that we didn't. And then we created, well, there was 2 chances basically in the second half, one for us and one for Fulham. But we had a far more attacking pressure, I felt. Although Fulham had a lot of possession, most of their possession weren't doing anything. It was played around the back, and our press today was far, far better. You know, a lot of the time, and I like the players telling each other, you know, not digging each other out, but really geeing each other on, telling them who to pick up, because it means they're switching on. You know, it means they're not just doing their job. It means that, you know, they're working as a team, they're working as a unit. And if you want to press in the Championship against good sides, you need to do it as a team. You can't do it individually. And, you know, I felt we've done that really well today. The chances created in the second half, one fell to Bradshaw, a lovely through ball, held his run. Budvarsson plays him through. Bradshaw's kind of mishit it into the goalkeeper. He hasn't struck it cleanly. And then Fulham, right near the end, have another set piece. The ball's whipped in, a glancing header, and it goes in off the bar, and that would have been an absolute travesty and you know, completely unfair if Fulham would have taken the 3 points. I think you could probably make an argument slightly, did we deserve to win it? Maybe, but there's also a points a fair result. If we go through the starting lineup today, we went back to the three at the back and then the two wing backs, and it worked. It worked much better than than the 4-4-2 or the 4-2-3-1 that we've been playing. I liked it, and I like the fact, like I said, other than the mistake by Pearce, we had Cooper and Hutchinson either side of him. And what I love when they're playing this formation is their willingness to get forward, their willingness to drive on the ball and to create the space for the midfield, because that's what you do. You know, if you run on the ball, and they've done that a lot of times today, Hutchinson and Cooper, and I honestly thought they were absolutely excellent. Mitrovic is probably the best striker in the Championship. He scores a cracking goal, but I felt otherwise. All three of them done really well holding him up. They were on him. They didn't give him any time and space. You know, Fulham have got some quality players where they can, in and around the box, their touches and skill were really good at times. But I felt that the covering from those three defenders were excellent. And, you know, I would give them all 8 if it weren't for Pearce making a mistake. And I'll mark him down and give him a 7 for the mistake that cost the goal. But the other two get an 8. Zach, what are you going to give the back three?
I have a man of the match in the back three. Well, a split man of the match today again. It's Cooper Trooper.
Cooper Trooper.
Cooper played really well today. He won every ball in the air. He defended everything well. He hoofed it up too, but Varson was up there, so we had someone that could head the ball up there, and I thought he just played really well today, Cooper.
Yep. So
and I'll give him a 8.5.
Yep.
I'll give Hutchinson a 8, and I'll give Pearce a 7.
Pearce a 7. Two things come to mind when Zach was talking. One, I really like the fact that they were drilling balls into the midfield and allowing Woods and Malumbe, who have got the quality, to turn on the ball, and it got us out a load of times. And it makes a difference when you put pace on the ball and trust your players around you, and they've done that really well. And the other thing is, Sean Hutchinson in the second half turns into Forrest Gump and absolutely does a runner, and he's had to be brought down and gets Harry Arter a booking. And now I'll talk about Harry Arter. I don't normally talk about the opposition players, but what an absolute bellend Harry Arter was. You know, I've played in the Premiership for so long, complaining to the referee the whole time. You know, try and play football, because you didn't throughout the whole match. And I was expecting Arter and Tom Kearney, who, you know, was Championship Player of the Year not too long ago, to really dominate, and they just didn't. You know, I felt that Woods and Malumbe had the better game out of the two midfield pairing, and I wouldn't have expected that at the start. So that was really impressive from the defence. We'll now move to right back in Marlon Romeo, who, do you know what? I'm getting seriously worried that if he keeps banging in performances like this, we're not going to hold on to him very long, because he's certainly pushed for my man of the match. It was between him, you know, the two central midfielders, and Budvarsson. You know, any one of those four could be man of the match. Before I say that, actually, I've got to mention Bart. Bart didn't have anything to do. I don't think he made a save, so it's hard to mark Bart at all. I think he claimed well from a cross and kicked the ball out reasonably well today. Other than that, we didn't see Bartosz Bieliakowski, which will say everything considering we're playing third in the table. So I'll give Bart a 7 just purely because he was on the pitch. Zach, what are you going to give Bart? Quickly, just give a rating.
Just 7.
7, right. Now we're back to Marlon Romeo. You know, his attacking play, winning the penalty, he's just he didn't get beat. You know, a couple of times he was further forward and covered in behind. He just, considering the players he's coming up against week in, week out, he really is starting to put through a string of games. You know, you can't argue with what he's doing, and I've been so impressed with him. So for that reason, I'm going to give Marlon Romeo an 8. Zach, a rating for Marlon?
I'll give him
an 8. And then we go to Murray Wallace, who's playing left wing back. I thought it was a back to a decent performance for Murray Wallace. You know, he suffered in the last couple of weeks, but I thought he was excellent today. You know, up against a really physical player in Kamara, and I felt he'd done really well to marshal him. Had to put his body on the line on a couple of occasions, and it's one of the only times I've ever seen him get pushed off a ball, which will tell you everything. But Murray Wallace gets also a 7.5. Zach, Murray Wallace
showed a bit of pace today, and I'll actually give him a 8.
and 8. Then we move into the central midfield pairing of Jason Malumbe and Ryan Woods. You know, Ryan Woods picked up a booking which kind of nullified him a little bit, but other than that, both of them were absolutely superb. I love the fact that they keep showing for the ball, tracking the runners in midfield, pressing forward as well. All round, you know, I can't think of a negative thing to say. And another great thing I want to say about Jason Malumbe is he's getting a voice on him. You know, he's starting to marshal the players around him, and considering his age, that is an absolutely great sign. I know that they're both of them are lone players, which is such a pain in the backside, because they could be the future with the players they've got around, like Billy Mitchell and Ben Thompson to come back, and Ryan Leonard. Even when he came on again, it's a welcome return to see Ryan Leonard back. You know, we have got a decent central midfield lot if we could keep hold of them. But I'll easily give both Ryan Woods and Jason Malumbe both 8s. Zach?
Talking about Leonard, my best friend, he supports Southend, and he loved Ryan Leonard. He's his favourite player of all time. So just mentioning Harry in Southend Freres Lions.
Yeah, one of our Lions. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they both marshalled their midfield today, so I'll give them both a 8.
Listen, if you'd have said Ryan Woods and Jason Malumbe versus Harry Arter and Tom Kearney, there'd be a lot of people that would laugh at you to say who would win that battle. Today, the Millwall boys won it comfortably. Then we move forwards to the front three with Jed Wallace on the right, John Daddy Budvarsson on the left, and Tom Bradshaw up front. I'll save the best till last, and normally I'd go from left to right if that was the situation, but I'll start with the worst of that. I thought Jed Wallace, you know, his fight again, his end product, he seems a little bit out of confidence, which you don't want with Jed Wallace, because he's too good for that. He's got the game in his locker, but today he seemed to make mistake after mistake. After the penalty, you know, before the penalty I felt he was in the game. After the penalty I felt his head dropped, and you know, he gave the ball away far too often and made the wrong decision, which he hasn't been doing. He has been doing recently, which he weren't doing when he was on such a good run. And maybe he needs a rest, but can we afford to rest him? We haven't got another great right midfielder. Obviously Scalak came on for a party piece at the end, but he's not on the level of Jed Wallace, even a half-baked Jed Wallace. So Jed, for me today, it's hard to give him any more than a 6. I did like his work rate. Zach?
Yeah, you can't miss a penalty. I'll give him a 6.5.
You can miss a penalty, you can't miss the target. Then we move to left, we go with a striker with John Daddy Budvarsson. Tom Bradshaw. I thought Tom Bradshaw, you know, again, his touch, he give the ball away that got Ryan Leonard's, Ryan Woods, too many bloody Ryans. Tom Bradshaw give the ball away that led to the Woods booking. He had to do it, he had to sacrifice himself. But I want him to take the chance that he had. You know, he's got to do that. He's put through, he's not one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and it's on his weaker foot. He does hit the target, which is the only positive I'd say about it. But for me, I didn't think he was quite up to the game that I'd expect him to be at. So Tom Bradshaw gets a 6. Zach?
Yeah, he should score that even, but the defenders were blocking him a little bit. I'll give him a 6.5.
6.5. Then we'll move to the man of the match. My man of the match by quite considerable margin today. I thought John Daddy Budvarsson, where that came from the last 2 performances I've seen him in a Millwall shirt, he just seemed a completely different player. I don't know whether he's taken steroids or some kind of or opal fruits or something, because he was just, his touch, his hold up play, his turning on the ball, he was playing players in. He was just, like I said, he was an absolute revelation, and it was really, really impressive to see. And you know, I doubted whether he had that in his locker before today, and I'll hold my hands up because I felt he was absolutely superb today. And there is absolutely no way, if you're looking for consistency and you're playing players on form, well, John Daddy Budvarsson deserves a start against Preston on Saturday. He also worked his nuts off. You know, like I said, the press was very intelligent today, and Gary Rowett would be very, very proud of the effort that was put in. Like I said, John Daddy Budvarsson was my man of the match. We'll now move on to the referee, ref watch. Obviously, we got a bit lucky with the decision. I think he's done it how he's seen it. He can do no more than that. But then in the second half, you know, he's tried to even it up. You can see it. There's a couple of really poor decisions. Arter gets booked for bringing Budvarsson down, and you want the ref to be a bit stronger. And then you think 3 minutes of injury time. Arter, when he was crying on the pitch because he had to go off and be like behind the goal, and it just baffles you that, you know, when we're pushing, they're trying to kill the game a little bit, Fulham, which tells you what you need to know about the Millwall performance, that Fulham are trying to kill the game. When it's chalk and cheese, but from the game at Craven Cottage and what we put in on Sunday, we now go up to Preston in probably the last of our ridiculously hard run. In 4 games we've played the top 3, and this is our first point, so it's good to turn that around. Zach, quickly, what did you think of the ref?
Can I say my other man in the match?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
He actually played really well today. His turn-up play and the way he dribbled the ball was brilliant. So I'll give John Danny Budvarsson a 9.
Yeah.
And the ref, I'll say a 6 out of 10. He gave us a penalty, so you can't really complain.
True. All right, then, fair enough. Like I said, now we go to Preston. If you don't mind, like the video. If you are not subscribed to my channel, which a lot of you, funny enough, 75% of the people that watch the videos are not subscribed, which is quite amazing. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the video. Thank you very much for watching. A well-deserved point. Probably could have nicked all 3 from the line today. Thank you very much. We got our Millwall back, driving down the A13. No one likes us.
We don't care.